Tennessee's roster didn't just get stronger, but it at least stayed intact to some degree. What can you tell me?
Yeah, so I want to actually credit Rocky Top Insider for doing their journalistic work on this. They reached out to a UT spokesperson who confirmed that both Javontez Spraggins and Elijah Simmons are back with Tennessee football for the start of winter workouts, which makes it pretty clear that even though neither one of them like officially announced a return for their super senior seasons, it is 100% that they're coming back for their super senior seasons now. It's confirmed because of that move. So Spraggins and Simmons back. We expected both. Spraggins was kind of up in the air. That Spraggins is a huge confirmation for Tennessee, though. They need that for their offensive line. So that's the real story.
Okay, why?
Javontez Spraggins is, I would argue, the best run blocking guard in the SEC. And I know some people find me to be crazy when I say that, but if you guys watched Tennessee 2 years ago, their offense was able to go because of the downfield blocking that Javontez Spraggins did on the run plays, particularly. Last year, it wasn't as effective because without Jerome Carvin, Ollie Lane was just struggled severely, and so did Andre Carrick. But you need both guards. But Spraggins was still reliable. Spraggins next to Cooper Mays is a huge boost to Tennessee's run game. They need the run game to make this offense go. And when you got those two guys, now they just have to find a left guard. Assuming everybody stays healthy, they just need to find a left guard. We thought they were going to have to replace, Dave, you talked about it. You said, remember the start of 2023, we talked about how 2024 offensive line is a big concern. Well, all of a sudden, offensive line is no longer a concern for Tennessee, assuming everybody stays healthy.
It's arguably a strength now, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, depth is a question, but
Travis stole it from me. Travis and I think too much alike. The offensive line, and I thought this if they got Cooper back, because I thought the dominoes like Spraggins would fall into place, that Tennessee's offensive line would go from being a question mark to a strength, and it has done that. So it's exactly what I was going to say. Now, Elijah Simmons has announced his return.
No, not announced. They were just confirmed at workouts.
Right. It's just been confirmed at workouts. Which is these are not great surprises, but, and by the way, we've got speaking of surprise, a surprise VFL that will join us here in just about 7 minutes. So, but listen, the one player on this roster that can go from okay to special is named Elijah Simmons. He has an opportunity with an incredible offseason to be the Jalen Hyatt of defense. The guy that goes from pretty good to, this guy's special. I don't know if he's not angry enough. I don't know if he needed a worse upbringing. I don't know what the case is. But the guy has got, I joke, but a coach once told me, he said the best linebackers were beating his children. So, well, that sounds awful, but you got to get angry, man. You got to do something.
Patches a hula hand.
Patches a hula hand. It's exactly. I mean, my goodness gracious. He has all the talent in the world. I've been told he's almost as physically gifted as Darnell Wright, who could do backflips at 330 pounds.
So basically what you're saying is they should pay his mom to show up at games with some random boyfriend that'll make Elijah Simmons really, really mad.
It's a dodgeball reference.
Yeah. Or pay, I don't know if he has a girlfriend. Pay his girlfriend to show up to games with like some other boyfriend flirting with her and him see that on the field so then he can get really angry.
I feel like, here's my issue with Simmons. I feel like he's okay with being average. Like he's okay with being the 330-pound anchor in the middle of the defensive front. When in reality, you should want to rip up field and affect the passing game as well, not just be the anchor, right?
He is okay with doing what he's supposed to do, but not doing what he could do. No, I feel you. Thinking about this, now they're not the same type of player at all, even though they both play defensive tackle. I mean, Elijah Simmons, isn't he the type of guy that could use a John Chavis as a head coach or as a defensive coordinator? Because you told me that Albert Hainsworth showed up a really nice guy, and they had to like teach him to be mean, right? They had to make him angry, didn't they?
Well, that
And
was Jeff Fisher that did that at the NFL level. I would argue, yes, but he had enough ability at the college level. He could have been totally pleasant. He could have been stoned as a.
yeah, but he had anger issues at the college level, so they had to
That's true,
like.
he did. He had anger issues. Period. They didn't instill anger issues in him.
Oh, I thought he was like a super nice guy, and they instilled anger, and they got him angry, and then he had trouble turning it off when he got angry.
That was he told me that was a Fisher. That was the NFL. Now he had anger issues as he gave the whole South Carolina student section the one finger salute when he left the field when Tennessee beat the Gamecocks back in the day. That was hilarious with Bud Ford pulling in his jersey. And you've probably heard of the time, I've told this before, with the pole incident where he was going to try to beat Will Offenhusel up with a pole, and he got his jersey ripped off, stopping in the middle of practice. Stopping him from getting to Offenhusel, got kicked out of practice, came back, and Philip Fulmer finally got him to calm down. That's a lot. That's a mouthful. But somebody needs to do that with Elijah Simmons. I mean, somebody.
Well, okay, here's the question, though. If you ride him hard, is he the type that you can get angry, or will he go away and cry? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, can you ride him enough to where, like, can you trigger something in Elijah to get him to go off?
Well,
I mean, can you get the Bobby Boucher moment? Like, think of everybody who's been mean to you, Elijah. Think of everybody who's been mean to you.
Well, that's Rodney Garner
over the years,
right? I mean, that's up to him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got to find a way to trigger Elijah. He does. You're right.
How different is this defensive front if he's a rip and tear guy? If he's closer to Vince Wilfork than he is Taria Smalls? Here's a blast from the past. I mean, how different is it? Seriously.
Think about this. We already talked about how elite Tennessee's edge rushers are. Imagine if they have an anchor in the middle who has to command like 2 or 3 guys blocking him with James Pierce on the outside. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about an amazing defensive lineman at that point. And look, maybe going against Spraggins will help. Spraggins blocks mean, doesn't he? And so, it's I mean, maybe those one-on-one matchups will help. You need to talk to this. Get Cooper Mace to find a way to trigger Elijah Simmons.
I'm sure he's trying in practice. Yeah, I'm sure he's trying. But
by the way, this isn't.
No, go ahead, finish.
This is, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I can tell you this. Think the NBA for a minute. Big players down low. They check you and they punk you down low and they try to test you, and you got to be able to handle it. And I mean, that's why Blake Griffin never became the superstar he could have been because of that. So yeah, no, you got to trigger Elijah Simmons. I don't know how you're going to trigger him on the defensive line, but you got to figure out a way to bring the nasty streak out of him because his potential is through the roof. And again, because I haven't seen it yet, Javontez Spraggins is the bigger returnee to this point of the two.
Agreed. But the greatest potential, I'm telling you, is not even close. It is Elijah Simmons.